history in google.com/history, the same impression logic applies. And you can summarize it as, we're interested in the search if the user seemed interested in the search. The first way they can show that they're interested in the search is by actually clicking on something. So if I click on something on that flowers page, clearly I wanted flowers, or like through our Jedi mind tricks we convinced you that you wanted flowers, but the majority of cases that you wanted flowers, and so you clicked on something. So that's an impression. The second is you actually committed to the search more explicitly. You pressed the search button, you pressed enter, etc. And then the third is that you stopped typing and you looked at the results for a minimum of 3 seconds. Well, sorry, the results were displayed for a minimum of 3 seconds. A drop-dead simple rule that we just came up with based on some analysis of how long people look at results pages. So 3 seconds is long enough for us to guess that you were looking at those results. And the important case for us is you weren't interested in the results for flowers. You decided to type something longer, like flowers for a wedding, or flowers for sympathy, or something like that. So we want to know that you were dissatisfied with those results and went on to something else. So that's the same impression rule that applies to webmasters. So what do webmasters need to know? Well, everything you already know. You can search for Google Webmaster Guidelines to get the basic gist, but users still want to visit pages that have compelling content and a great user experience. You should focus on good titles and making sure that the snippets that show up in our results are good. And you should think about the words users would type to find your pages, but maybe actually try typing those words to see how Google Instant treats them. Maybe there are shorter versions of those searches that still give you interesting results. Same thing as for advertisers, that the results are for a single query, right? I'll show you some ugly mocks later of other UIs that we came up with, but to keep things simple for the user, we're just showing one query on the results page. And then if you look in Webmaster Central, you'll see that impression counts are probably going up for you, and I'm guessing these guys might talk about that a little bit. Clicks probably aren't going up for you, right? So the impressions are those 3-second pauses and other effects of Google Instant causing impressions to go up a little. Absolute numbers of clicks in average are remarkably neutral, right? For your site, this may vary a little bit, but the absolute number of clicks should stay roughly the same. Here's a picture of our rollout. So September 8th, we rolled out to .com and to 6 European countries: Russia, England, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, signed in. Last week, we rolled out to Canada and Mexico and 10 more European countries. And I achieved my career ambition of being on Mexican radio. Danny can sing along. We also rolled out Keyboard Nav and Google Instant on other search modes like books, video, and news. And we're rolling this out around the globe, so coming soon to your country or language. Let me just talk a little bit about some technical challenges we had. Here's my first mock of Google Instant from last August, and I called it Lefty. And this is a bad idea. So this is, I've typed net, and we have all these autocomplete predictions on the left. Netflix, netgear, net zero, etc. And so one idea, not a very good idea, is actually to just blend the results for all these queries on the page. This turns out to be incredibly hard for users to use because they have to do this peekaboo thing of seeing whether net zero is anywhere on the page or not. Terrible idea, as proven by internal dogfooding and user studies. Second mock I came up with was what I call groupie, which is show a couple results for each of the autocomplete predictions. So here I have Fitts law and Fitts law example. This again has this problem of your eye has to move way down the page to find out whether the results are something of interest to you. We finally hit on this UI of showing the prediction in gray text, which I think is one of the key UI features that we came up with. And that just makes it very simple for you to start searching, and when the gray text is what you're interested in, you can stop searching and then scan down to the results. And that's something that we confirmed with eye tracking experiments. I think Ian is going to talk more about eye tracking, but that's a basic technique we use. We bring people into the lab and give them a new user interface. We don't explain anything to them. We basically have them do their own searches, and we also give them some search tasks. And we see where they look on the screen. And user after user, as they're typing, focuses on the search box, and so the gray text is a very natural UI for them. It turns out that time between keystrokes is about 300 milliseconds, but the time it takes you to move your eyes from one part of the screen to another is 1/10 that long, so it's only 30 milliseconds. So this detecting the gray text and then moving to the results actually works really well for people. Other technical challenges. So the other main thing is we made the search results page into much more of an Ajax-y application. So much more like Google Maps or Gmail or other applications on the web. And the way that works is as you're typing, we send these autocomplete requests to our servers. We have more than 3, but the picture just shows 3. And then we send back a 2-part response. So the first thing that comes back is the set of autocomplete predictions. So this takes like on the order of tens of milliseconds in our back end. So this comes back first. And then in the same connection, we send back the search results page. We don't reestablish a connection, which would slow things down a lot. And then as you keep typing, we continue this flow, reusing connections, having JavaScript manage all the interaction. And then the final thing I'll talk about is just scale and efficiency. A big challenge in Google Instant was getting this to scale so that we could actually launch it. Most people at Google thought I was totally crazy. And that we could never optimize it enough. But it turns out you can optimize everything in computer science if you put enough engineers on it. So the average query is about 20 characters long in English, so naively we'd be doing like 20 searches per search. That's too expensive. So the first thing we did was realize that some searches are more important than others. So as I'm typing something like YouTube, for example, the probability that you want YouTube, given that you typed Y, is insanely high. Like, you wouldn't believe how high it is. And so that's a search we want to prioritize very quickly. It's basically a good bet that the user wants YouTube or Facebook or Amazon or other sites like that. So we make sure that some searches get served faster, which improves the overall experience. Second thing that we do is we keep track of which searches are in progress for you on other servers, something we've never done before, right? Google has lots of machines. They all operate pretty statelessly. But now we're introducing a little bit of user state. So as you're typing something like focus on the user and all else will follow, that search stays the same for a long time. And some other server is probably either already working on the search or has already sent it to your browser. So the new server that gets your new request can look that up and say, oh, the user already has the results for this, so I don't have to repeat the search. That saves us a lot of time. And then the third thing we did is, roughly around the same time we rolled out Caffeine, we rolled out a result caching scheme, which is incredibly sophisticated. The basic idea is, as we're continuously crawling and indexing the web, we update these result caches for the most common queries. So we have content is as fresh as it ever was, but these caches get sort of smushed into the crawling and indexing system so that they're updated as fast as the index. And that reduces the average cost of a search. And then we made several other optimizations which basically let us launch this without having to use all the electrons in the universe. So that's Google Instant in a nutshell. And if you have any questions, seek me out, or folks in the booth probably have good answers to Webmaster and AdWords questions on this.